A day of confusion across Rockford as the U.S. Department of Homeland Security enters its borders Thursday, but city leaders could not confirm whether it was members of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. WIFR reporter Alyssa Kelly talks with a local immigration attorney to get a full perspective on what took place in and around Rockford and a clarification on residents' rights.
Yeah, Anthony, the message from immigration Laura Sarah Dady is pretty clear. Know your rights. The Department of Homeland Security has a database of specific individuals they are looking for. She says if they do approach you, you need to know how to react.
I think a lot of the fear is because people don't know their rights and they don't understand what is happening.
Reports of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Rockford flooded social media Thursday, causing concern and confusion for residents. While city officials can't confirm it was ICE, they do know the U.S. Department of Homeland Security was in the city.
Some federal agencies, including ICE, have not been communicating with local law enforcement agencies, making it difficult for us to know who is in our community, when they are in our community, and what they are doing in our community.
Rockford Mayor Tom McNamara addressed what was taking place in a video shared on social media. He adds Rockford follows the Illinois Trust Act and will not participate in ICE raids.
This is a time that we need to remain calm.
It is important that everyone remains calm.
Immigration attorney Sarah Dady explains federal agents are looking for specific individuals, but are also under orders to fill a quota. They are willing to talk to anyone who will answer questions. She says, know your rights.
But everyone has rights. Nobody has to talk to law enforcement if they don't want to. Everyone has the right to say, I do not wish to answer your questions. I do not wish to show you documents. Am I free to go?
Dady adds we are talking about civil law enforcement, not criminal. ICE is in charge of enforcing civil laws, and residents should understand the limits of their authority.
The government can't do whatever it wants, whenever it wants, to whoever it wants. There are limits, and those limits are called our constitutional rights.
But the United States Secretary of Homeland Security says they will continue to operate with federal partners.
We need to make sure that we are continuing to protect the citizens that live here and want this community to be safe.
Nome adds they will continue to make sure criminals are brought in and brought to justice under the current administration.
We follow that Constitution and the laws that have been passed by our Congress, and we're going to make sure they are equally applied to every single person as it applies under the Constitution here in Los Angeles, but also across the country.
WIFR did reach out to the Department of Homeland Security to understand exactly what was taking place in Rockford, but have not yet received an answer.
The Rockford Police Department also shared an update on X Thursday, saying their officers will always clearly identify themselves when interacting with the community.